a new job for me at Clear Channel Radio. Like many before, I was beginning at the bottom. Production assistant, or PA if you don't want to look like a turd in a punch bowl. This position, despite its flashy title, meant you and another soulless youth drove the radio station vehicles out to location, details, and set up the prize wheel where you hoped there would be someone to break the monotony by spinning. The exotic locales were chiefly car dealerships, businesses, and suburban strip malls, and occasionally something cool like a concert, or in this case, Splashtown. I was told that I could bring my swimsuit because we would be free to play and stay after our remote. That's what PAs do. Go to the remote location, or remote, and whatever. Remote broadcasts are, of course, why they are named this, but by this time, DJs just recorded a call out ahead of time or called a producer back at the station to record whatever they were obligated to say. And it didn't get much more technical than that almost ever. So in this case, remote means Spring, Texas, the glorious, far-flung home of Houston's only water park. You've likely seen this giant water slides from the I-45 while undoubtedly on your way to see the giant statue of our city's namesake, just a few clicks beyond. I will refer to this slide as the Slide o' Shame, or just Shame Slide, from here forward. I don't know anything about what being a PA at a remote entails at this point, but I didn't have any anxiety about this, as I recollect, because this job paid $7 an hour or some paltry, insulting sum. Starting from the bottom, like Drake, remember? And I am awesome at everything anyway. It is, however, impossible to maintain a meconium of self-respect whilst wrestling an inflatable sunshine into a fully erect position from the side of a major highway for sunny 99.1. Known citywide to be the mascot of the preferred FM frequency of dentist waiting rooms and lonely women. My partner James, who's a cool guy and we would grow to be friends in time. For now, he showed me the ropes, quite literally in this case, because it's not easy to rise the sun. And we talked about music and how to use the conversation. By the end of the remote, it wasn't even awkward to change into a bikini and spend the day playing at a water park with him. At some point, we ascended the 11 billion steps of the Shame Slide. Little did I know that the descent I was about to make was both actual and metaphorical in the most unexpected way. I felt the ping of regret as I peeked over from the top of the slide. It is a long way down. And from the platform, the gradient looks pretty fucking vertical. I was in my early 20s though, and I went because fear was momentary back then. Hesitation, as you may know, builds up in adulthood through experiences like the one I had unknowingly embarked upon. I survived, despite the feeling of my back coming off the shame slide and the sensation of my vagina had migrated to my throat. As I rose up at the end, I sheepishly muttered something about how my bathing suit was uncomfortably far into my butt. The very tan and very toned, very young lifeguard half laughed and half scoffed, "It'll do that," as he chewed his whistle. I had no choice. While involuntarily closing one eye, I regretfully dug my bottoms from around my shoulders and out of my ass in full view of everyone. I don't remember details, but I know that it was not long after this that I felt a terrible, terrible urgency in my bowels. I had been feeling fine, but this was an unmistakable feeling of not fine. I tried to be casual about needing to stop by a restroom and made some jokes about not being the Josie Grossie who would pee in the pool, which I totally am. We finally get to a restroom and I need to run, but I also need to clench. But thankfully, I made it inside and out of public sight. Now, many people have strong opinions about number 2 in public. I don't. I do not care what others are up to in any toilet, public or private. And generally speaking, poop talk is not my thing, and I don't hang around to listen to it either. In this case, any reasonable human would prefer to have this experience alone in a padded room on a remote island without so much as a piece of sports equipment fashioned into a friend there as a witness. Back to Splashtown. This restroom was cavernous, like Reliant or Minute Maid restrooms, and it was constructed out of slick concrete with its inner framework of metal stalls. This is a chambered nautilus for the fucking symphony. It was as though the entire thing were built to funnel sound out of the giant doorless opening. This was the concerto cave to my shame slide. Life sucked. There could have been one person in there, or there could have been 100. I have very little recollection because now my urgency had grown into undulation and the wave had grown into tsunami. The flatus was loud. It was loud and obnoxious, and if it were a party, it would laugh with its mouth open and full of garlicky food. It would tell short jokes that managed to offend everyone in the room. It would be the creepy kind of pervy and make you wince. I had just expelled Trey Parker and Matt Stone from my asshole. I think this whole ordeal was relatively short-lived, but I don't remember that either. I scarcely had time to worry that James had heard every note of my siren song from outside the concerto cave. Though I was sure he was intently listening and wondering why an exorcism was being conducted from the stalls of the Splashtown restroom. I waited to be sure that I stayed in position, should there be more. I peeked over my shoulder. Nothing. What sorcery is this? Nothing? No pea soup, no blood, no bowels or Bibles? Nothing that resembled anything that you might have guessed I was about to describe? Nothing. I had scooped up so much pool water with my anus all the way down the shame slide. I repeat, I collected an incredible amount of plain old water in my butt. So much so that I thought I had Monsuma's revenge. The Texas freefall is 5 stories high. That's over 50 feet of ass scoop and terror. Now, I have no way of knowing how much water I took on, but I know some math. If my shit ship took in just 1/4 of 1 ounce of every foot of the shame slide, I'd have just over 12 ounces of gently chlorinated family fun park fluids in my lower rectum. That's 1 frosty can of your favorite beverage. Anyways, James didn't seem to notice anything biblical had happened when I emerged from the restroom because normal people don't try to listen in. But terrified people are certain that is exactly what they're doing. The rest of the day went on unremarkably, but in case you were wondering, no, I have never, and I will never go anywhere near the same slide or any of its cousins ever again.